one part of your campaign is decriminalizing drugs, right?
Yes.
So my question around that, because I know places like Portugal have done this, but do you feel like once the government decriminalizes drugs, there's also a governmental responsibility to make sure that clean drugs are administered? Because I feel like if you just decriminalize it, but all the stuff that the hard stuff that people are doing are like laced with fentanyl or something, which oftentimes they are like on a street level, then like people could just be dropping and it's kind of like on the government, right? So do you feel like if you decriminalize drugs, you kind of also have to take that responsibility in making sure they're administered safely and cleanly?
So this is where drug testing becomes a very important part of this, as opposed to just like providing cleaner substances, because I really believe that there's this opportunity for people to take a more proactive approach to how they medicate themselves. And this is what is really missing from this addiction, trauma, mental health conversation. It's like people are self-medicating because they have no other options. And that's where it's like, give people the testing mechanisms to know what bad drugs look like. And that's where I would like to get testing kits in the clubs, the restaurants, the construction sites, because it's not just homeless people dying of addictions. It's people that are housed.
No, it's like working class people like ripping lines at the construction site and stuff.
And that's one thing that like, I don't think people realize in the affordable housing conversation, the workers are dying. How are they going to build all this housing if they're like broken because of the type of work they have to do? And that's why we're having this construction fireside chat today, because when I think about construction workers, it's predominantly men in physically intensive labor. They don't have benefits, so they have to go looking for opioids. That creates a whole cycle of like addiction, abuse, a variety of things. And it's like, we depend on them to build the entire city. How can you depend on a broken group of people to carry out some of the most intensive targets that have been set in our history? You know what I mean? So it's like, if we want to focus on harm reduction, mental health, start at the construction sites, give them technology to not have to do such labor intensive work, because that's really what's breaking down their bodies. The repetitiveness, like the lack of technology in their sector. Like you see places like China, Dubai, Netherlands, they're just like, let the robots do it. Give it 9 weeks and it's done. And their quality of life is so much better. When we look at our roads, they're constantly under construction. There's like 5 dudes. There's 5 guys watching one healthy man do the work. And that's because like the way that we invest in workers is very poor. The executive is constantly getting bonuses. What do workers get? We don't have accessible benefits. Like depending on the type of job you have, you might get paid in cash, but you have no benefit system. You have like no access to physiotherapists that could help you. And if you're in a union, your union dues are not really building anything. They're going into pension funds, investment portfolios. And one thing that's been bothering me is like the Canadian pension fund is building the condos that's displacing workers. And this is where like us as workers are doing the most to fill the pockets of management consultants, executives. Like we need better representation and we need like more of us to feel like we can hold them accountable.
Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to Borough Sound.